As legend has it, Parshuram, the great Hindu mythological warrior, threw his axe into the sea and a land arose. A monsoon land, rich in spices and natural resources, the Malabar coast was to become an important centre along the maritime trade routes to the east. This land, deep in the southern heart of India, now known as Kerala, was from the 12th century onwards a land of warring feudal principalities. It was but natural then that a martial discipline developed and was established amongst the warrior classes and the private armies of the feudal chieftains. It was at this period that a man named Verma set sail from the Malabar coast for China and Japan. And the martial discipline he and his followers practiced profoundly influenced the development of martial arts in the Far East. This martial art, a purely Dravidian phenomenon, reached its zenith in the 16th and 17th centuries of medieval Kerala. It came to be dominated by the Nairs, the warrior community who were the main source of strength for the feudal armies. Martial training was an integral part of the growing up of Nair youth. The slow decline of this martial art began soon after the coming of the gun and the cannon, introduced by the European colonial powers, the Portuguese, the Dutch, and later the British. In the Kerala of today, there still exists some tradition of this feudal past, and the North Malabar region is the land of this martial art, an art that has survived the changes of time, unknown to many. This is Chirakkal T. Sridharan Nair, who, in the continuing tradition of the Nair community, is the last of the great masters of this martial art, a tradition which had become confined to a few feudal homes of North Malabar. It is only in recent years, through the efforts of Sridharan Nair and a few other dedicated teachers, that interest in this martial art has been revived and the discipline made accessible to many. The temple of the goddess Bhadrakali, patron deity of this martial art, known in Kerala as Kalaripayattu. This involves body control and martial training, a synthesis of the ancient Indian system of military sciences and traditional medical practices. There are four major stages of learning this martial art. The body exercises, called Maithoril, are the first stage of Kalaripayattu. Body control training and massage with medicated oils makes the body loose-jointed and extremely supple. These preliminary movements are the basis of and common to all the stages of Kalaripayattu practice. Koltari, the second stage of this martial training, is the art of fighting with sticks, both short and long. The otta is a short, curved staff of 3 hand spans made of tamarind wood, a hard-hitting weapon. Sridharan Nair works closely with a small group of disciples. He believes in teaching them thoroughly. The dark, balding man, Vijayan, is one of his oldest and closest disciples. Muchan Payat, or exercises with the short staff, call for a remarkable swiftness of eye and hand, with a speed of action and movement that is the essence of such combat forms. The muchan, or short staff, is usually 27 inches long and 2 inches thick. Finally, in Koltari, the second stage of Kalaripayattu is the use of the kettukari, or long staff, a weapon 5 to 5.5 feet of solid cane. Bearded Prasad, Sridharan Nair's son, and Lakshman, a close disciple, practice one of the many variations and techniques of the Kettukaripayattu, the art of wielding the long staff. Lakshman falters on a poor defense. Sridharan Nair, being a perfectionist, intervenes. He assails Lakshman with a contained fury, forcing him to strengthen his defense. Though well advanced in his years, the old master has lost none of his touch. Angatri, the third stage of Kalaripayattu, is the art of fighting with sharp weapons. It is only after achieving proficiency in fighting with sticks that the trainee graduates to the use of these lethal weapons. Prasad and Vijayan are evenly matched after years of practice at Valapattanam, the use of the sword and shield. The many stages of Angatri make use of swords, spears, daggers, and other such weapons, each with a specific technique to be practiced and mastered. Kalaripayattu, or exercises with the dagger, are part of Angatri practice. The dagger used here is an unusual one, being gripped squarely behind the hilt, allowing greater versatility in its use. Sridharan Nair can afford to sit back in his old age knowing well that he has trained people who will carry forward this art with a certain dedication, for he has taught them well.
I am now 71 years old. If you reverse these numbers, you get 17. I started these things at the age of 17. In those days, bodybuilding activities mainly consisted of training with weights and dumbbells. Within 3 to 4 years, I developed a muscular physique. When I saw myself in a mirror, I felt solid and strong. At that time, one of my friends asked me how such a muscular body benefited me. I replied, well, a strong body is good to look at. My friend said, that's not enough. What would you do if you were attacked? Would you be able to defeat your opponent? I replied, of course not. My friend advised me that I would need a special training for this, and so I asked him to tell me what would be required. You would have to learn Kalaripayattu, he said. It is the martial art of Kerala, and then you will be able to defend yourself. But who will teach me? I inquired. Then my search began to find someone who would teach me this art. There were a few people around who were able to teach, but they were only acquainted with the primary steps of Kalaripayattu. I was initiated into the art by a teacher who lived in Ajikode. From him I learned the basic technique. But naturally, I wanted to know more. Once again, my search for a teacher started. It was from Kunjan Gurukal that I learnt all the body movements. It took me a month to master these. I was then about 21 years old. Now I had to learn how to use weapons. Again I had to look around for someone to teach me. I brought Kunjikanan Gurukal from Badagara to this house, and it was here that I was taught the use of weapons. He had told me that it would take a month to learn, but I managed it within 14 days. After this, the next step was to learn to use sharp weapons, and again I made inquiries. Finally, I discovered a teacher from Madras. He was very old. I persuaded him to come to Kerala. He instructed me here on this very veranda. He had warned me that it would take a month to learn these techniques. We worked with the sword and the shield and the spear too. I mastered all the 5 steps in the specialized field in just 1 week. My teacher was very pleased with my performance. I gave him the traditional offering that the disciple makes to the Guru. All these teachers are no more. None of them are alive today.
Kalaripayattu, literally translated, means a gymnasium, and the exercises practiced within it. The kalari, or gym, is a pit dug out of the ground, compacted and covered with a roof of thatched palm or tiles that keeps out the sun's heat and the heavy monsoon rains. The pit is 5 to 6 feet below ground level and is a cooler environment for the rigorous training. It is in these gymnasiums that the basic training of all the stages of Kalaripayattu is carried out. At one end of the Kalari are the two altars of the Gurutara and the Putara. The weapons are placed and worshipped on the stepped altar of the Putara. The altar of the Gurutara represents the patron deity of this martial art. The novices bow down in reverence before these altars and touch the feet of their Guru before they start their practice. These children from surrounding settlements have only recently apprenticed themselves to this Kalari. As all beginners, they must go through the ritual of the body exercises which are fundamental to all stages of Kalaripayattu. A foot massage, generally with sesame oil, prepares the body for the day's training. Short staff or long staff. Practice goes on under the watchful eye of the master, or Asan as he is called. Sridharan Nair expects that his pupils must be fearless, for nothing less will do for a man like him, one who has perfected his art. Kalaripayattu saw its greatest days in the 16th and 17th centuries of medieval Kerala. Out of that period came many warriors whose exploits are today legendary. There was Arumal Chevekar and Tacholi Chandu, and women like Mathu and Uniyarcha. The sagas sung in praise of their lives are to be found in the Vattakkan Partukal, the Northern Ballads of Malabar, a collection of unique folklore. But among them all, the most famous was one great warrior called Tacholi Otenan. This shrine in his memory, near the town of his birth, was built many years ago by local villagers in reverence to Tacholi. Those dedicated to this martial art come to this shrine to perform their Valvali, or individual practice, at this hallowed spot. For 2 nights in the year, The peace of this quiet shrine is shattered as crowds of people converge to participate in the annual Theyam of Tacholi Otenan. He is the only martial hero for whom the Theyam is celebrated. This cult of the Theyam is a kind of Malabar folk dance, incorporating local folk heroes who are revered as gods by the local inhabitants. In this Theyam, the spirit of Tacholi is invoked. The temple dancer, through recollecting and enacting various events from the hero's life, encounters the spirit of Tacholi and supposedly transforms into a god to bless the assembled villagers. On this sacred night, the temple dancer tells of Tacholi's superhuman feats with the urme, the ultimate lethal weapon of flexible, coiled steel. The invocation continues, and Tacholi is called upon to give his blessings to all assembled. As the night wears on, the Theyam gets more intense, and the dancer, in elaborate costume, enacts many more episodes from this great warrior's life. Though today these Theyams have become cultural and social events, they are a link with a past that had mystery and magic interwoven with everyday life. Ballads are still remembered and sung, and every child of Malabar knows that Tacholi Otenan was the greatest cultural hero of this land. Sridharan Nair believes that anybody can learn Kalaripayattu and that there is nothing esoteric about it. Against opposition from certain quarters, he has demystified the art and has written the only authoritative text in Malayalam on Kalaripayattu. When first published many years ago, it met with much resistance from orthodox teachers. But dauntless, he went ahead and taught anyone who wanted to learn this martial art. Today, he is the acknowledged master of this discipline. Sridharan Nair spends a large part of his retired life still dedicated to his pupils. Today's session forms part of Virumkai. This is the fourth and last stage of learning Kalaripayattu. Dodging and parrying, advancing and retreating, striking with the elbow and with the edge of the palm, hitting at vital points and kicking effectively are all parts of Virumkai. Sridharan Nair's pupils here will practice attack and defense with machete and dagger and how to disarm an opponent with bare hands. അമരഭാഗം എടുത്ത കൈകൊണ്ട് പിടിക്കുക, വലത്തെ കൈകൊണ്ട് പകൽ.
അത് ശരി, അത് ശരി. ഇനിയിപ്പോൾ എന്താ വേണ്ടി വെച്ചാൽ പിന്നെ നമുക്ക് നാളെ ഇപ്പോൾ കടയിൽ വെച്ചിട്ട് ഒറ്റ 5 വരെ ഇപ്പം ശരിയാക്കി നമുക്ക് 6-ാമത്തെ നാളെ തുടങ്ങണം. 6-ാമത്തെ നാളെ തുടങ്ങണം. അപ്പോൾ കുറച്ച് വ്യത്യാസം 5 മുഖങ്ങളൊക്കെ 4 4 മുഖത്തിൽ കുറച്ച് വ്യത്യാസം ഉണ്ടാവും. ഇല്ല ഒക്കെ വിലങ്ങി മാറണം, കുയ്യക്കുട്ടി ഇതൊക്കെയാണ്. അതുകൊണ്ട് അത് നമുക്ക് നാളെ ശരിയാക്കണം.
Sridharan Nair's closest disciples are Vijayan, Lakshman and his bearded son Prasad. He teaches them in great detail and here explains the positions of vital points on the body where one may strike to disable an opponent. A series of vital points from the forehead down to the solar plexus, vulnerable and crippling to the opponent, is struck correctly. A hard enough blow on the vital point 2 inches below the armpit can kill a man. And then, how to free oneself from grips. All these aspects are part of Verumkai, or bare-handed conflict, and are the final stages of learning Kalaripayattu. At home, Sridharan Nair spends his time in more relaxed ways. Painting is one of his favourite pastimes, and over the years he has painted a large series of such serpent forms.
Kalitanandam yenikyu kanivodu tavagamam. Kalitanandam yenikyu kanivodu tavagamam.
In the twilight years of his life, Sridharan Nair leads a retirement. He doesn't feel that Kalaripayattu has a very bright future. There are many teachers now, but they lack facilities or financial means to support gymnasiums. Sridharan Nair would like to see Kalaris started in every village. He stresses the importance of body health and hopes that the government will come forward and offer help. Otherwise, he feels that this martial art will soon be forgotten. But there is hope, for a lifetime's work is behind him. A faith that those he has taught will not forget, and that the art will live on after him.
കൊണ്ടാടാചാരുന്നല്ലേ